Hi everyone, welcome to In Conversation with Hemali. Today I'm going to be sharing my own story with you all. As a little girl, I did not understand the concept that one lives only one life. I don't mean this metaphorically. I mean literally. I thought that I was going to do everything that was there to do, and I'm going to be everything that I wanted to be. It was only a matter of time. There was no limitation of age, gender, race, or appropriate time. I was sure that I was going to actually experience what it felt like being being in the women's right movement, or being a 10-year-old boy in a farm plowing the fields with his grandfather, or even being the empress of the Tang dynasty in China. My mother used to say that when people asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, my typical response would be, I want to be a princess or a firefighter or maybe an air hostess. and and the thing is that what people didn't understand is that I wasn't trying to invent some combined super profession. I was listing things that I wanted to be, that I was going to be a princess, a firefighter, and an air hostess. And I'm sure, pretty sure, that as I grew, the list kept growing ahead too. But I was sure I was going to do everything. It probably meant I may have to move pretty quickly because there was just so much that I needed to do. So my life was constantly in a state of rushing. I was always scared that I'm going to be falling behind. And since I grew up in Baroda city, which is in Gujarat, in India, as far as I could tell, rushing was not pretty normal in Baroda. As I grew up, I had this sinking realization that I wasn't going to get to live any more than one life. I only knew what it felt like to be a teenage girl in Baroda city, not a teenage boy in Vancouver, nor a prom queen in Kansas. I only got to see through my lens, and it was around this time that I became obsessed with stories. Because it was through stories that I was able to see through someone else's lenses, however briefly or imperfectly. And I started craving hearing other people's experiences because I was so jealous that there were entire lives that I was never going to be able to live. And I wanted to hear about everything that I was missing. I would question constantly about other people's lives. And then I realized that some people were never going to be able to experience what it felt like to be a teenage girl in Baroda city, which meant that they weren't ever going to know what the rickshaw ride felt like, while going to the market and in the hot, humid climate. Nor would they ever know, those how exciting it is during those 9 days of Navratri festival, where boys and girls come out and dance the whole night through. And I wanted others to know about my life in Baroda, and this became my focus of obsession. I busied myself trying to tell stories and share stories. I gave myself, a 30 by 30 challenge. And the idea was that I write a new story every day for 1 month. I was thrilled by the efficiency with which I was able to produce stories. But at the end of the month, when I look back at these 30 stories I'd written, and I discovered that they were all trying to say the same story. It had just taken me 30 tries to figure out the way I wanted them to be told. And I realized this is probably true for all of the stories on an even larger scale. I have stories that I felt that I've tried to tell for years, rewriting and constantly searching for the correct words. I was terrified that I could keep re-editing and rewriting forever. And it was up to me, to decide when a story is finished and when I can walk away from there. Now I realize that no matter how much I edited, rewrote, I couldn't live the life someone else is living. And that is what sowed a seed in my mind. Long back, to talk to people and understand what kind of life they lived And it's not until recently that I realized that I can't always rush stories. I needed a platform to share these stories, that I wanted to share, the life-inspiring stories to make this world a better place to live in. If I couldn't live a life of a princess, a firefighter, or an air hostess altogether, I could at least talk to people who lived those lives and listen to their stories. And that's how In Conversation with Hemali came into being. Thank you very much. I have completed 25 episodes, and I generally have about 150 to 200 people viewing my interviews. And you know what? Good news is that I have already 240 subscribers, and I feel that's a big achievement. And this has been possible only because of the support that you all have given me. I realize I have the right people in my life to make me grow. Thank you so very much, and I'm going to continue doing this as far as I can. And you continue supporting me as far as you can. Thank you very much.